Hey everybody, thanks for watching ceREAL Talks with Josh and Ben. We're here to talk to you about culture, what's going on, give you a perspective from the Bible and our opinions, and hopefully our opinions are informed by, what's happening?
I don't know.
By the Bible. And these have something to do with our game today. These are, this is called Expert. You can buy it on Amazon. Sponsor us.
Link in the description.
But anyway, this is going to help us do our thing. Is there a different flavor you want me to buy you?
No.
This is good every time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because we have 2 boxes of on
They're
top
all
of the
stale.
fridge. I know, that's why I bought you new ones.
Thank you.
Because I love you that much.
We should get rid of those old ones.
We should.
And we should actually close this up. Or better yet, get some of those gigantic plastic Tupperwares that actually
No.
seal.
Tupperware is expensive.
Not if it's great value.
Kids, Tupperware is expensive. Okay? Stop throwing that stuff away. Gladware, you can chuck it. Okay? But don't. The Tupperware, your mom's going to be mad. Dom, what's the game? What are we doing?
All right, so the game is Bible trivia.
Bible trivia.
Oh, Josh is going to whoop me on this.
Some of it's easy. I was like, oh, I thought anyone could get that. Some of it, I'm like,
Oh.
I don't remember reading about this anywhere. So, yeah, it's Ben basically. It's first hit their buzzer, so you have a chance to just answer whatever random thing if you have no idea.
Perfect.
But
Just testing.
what is the punishment?
So the punishment is you're gonna have to close your eyeballs, and you're gonna have to basically just anticipate and wait for the flick of a lifetime.
No, I hate this game. Do you remember we used to play it? The dread that builds in your chest?
Uh-huh.
That weird tingly feeling when you're waiting to get flicked?
And
don't-
you clench?
Oh.
Okay, but rules, no flicking in the eyes, right?
No flicking in the eyes, and no flicking in the.
Temple?
There's one more spot.
No temples?
Oh, no. It gives me a headache, makes me feel really weird.
Okay.
That's probably because I was dropped on my head as a child.
Wow.
Were you?
Oh, no.
Well, some of my kids were.
Cut that.
No, it's true. But they're super smart.
Somehow. That
All
helped. I don't know.
First question. How many books are in the New Testament?
Dang it.
I have no idea. Do you? How many?
Yes.
5 seconds.
I do, but...
4,
No. Just take it. You're going to whoop me at this.
27.
There are 20.
You're going to whoop me. I'm going to look really unspiritual, guys.
You're super spiritual, Ben.
I'm 2 days ahead in my Bible reading plan.
See, that's what makes him super spiritual, because I'm probably 20 days behind in my Bible reading plan.
It took 1 day of doing 30 to get caught back up because I got really behind.
30 what?
30 readings.
Chapters?
Reading.
Oh,
things.
the little portions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get to flick you.
Oh.
You can't cover.
I hate this game. I hate it.
I heard that one.
When you edit this, please zoom in on my earlobe.
All right.
I'm not crying.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
After Jesus fed 5,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, how many baskets were there?
12 baskets.
12 baskets. Josh, prepare yourself.
Oh, the slurp before.
What type of insect did John the Baptist eat? In the Bible?
Dang it.
I wasn't finished reading, but go for it.
Locust.
It was locust.
Loci.
Oh, my button's not working.
I was going to say that. Not fair.
You should put your hands up like this, just in case I don't flick your fingers.
Just don't do right on the fingernail.
That's the only place to do it. Okay, fine, I won't.
I'm so nervous. Ow.
What is the shortest book in the New Testament?
1 John?
Philemon.
Nope. Ben, back to you.
Oh!
3 John?
No, Josh, back to you.
What? 2 John.
2 John.
Dang it! No flicking for that.
What tribe is Paul from?
Benjamin.
You don't get to flick me because that's my name.
Nope.
And I get a pass.
I get to flick you because it's your name.
I can't. I have to shrivel a little. Ow. That was really solid. I think the real question here is why is he so good at flicking?
I had practice back when I worked in a jewelry store. Don't ask.
According to the Gospel of Matthew, where does Jesus' first public sermon take place?
Mount of Olives.
Answer says on the mount. I'm going to give it to you.
No, I had a good one.
What was it?
In West Philadelphia. Born and raised. I hate this game. I want you to know I actually hate it.
This is why I love you. Hands up. Other way.
I hate this. I hate stop.
All right, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Watch me. Watch me. Watch me. Watch me. Ooh,
Ooh,
okay.
watch me.
Which of the three main heroes, Luke, Leia, and Han Solo, in the first Star Wars trilogy, refused to sign a 3-movie deal?
Han Solo.
Han Solo was the right answer.
You were right. I mean, I knew that too, but you just hit the button quicker.
Yeah, I did.
I hate this.
Close your eyes.
Don't caress my face.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Star Wars Holiday Special marks the first appearance of which Star Wars character? Gosh.
Jar Jar
What?
Binks.
It's not Jar Jar. Ben.
Chewie's family.
Okay. Let me.
Oh, Boba Fett. Sorry.
There's a lot of moving.
Double flick. You like all that chair movement noise?
Yes, there was a lot of it.
Out of these 4 people, who is the only non-Jedi in the original Star Wars trilogy to use a lightsaber? Chewbacca.
Oh.
Han Solo.
Okay, it's Han Solo, but you also gotta wait for me to read the possibilities.
When you said non-Jedi original trilogy, I'm like Empire Strikes Back when he cuts the tauntaun open. These things smell bad. I thought they smell bad on the outside.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
It's much funner when it's happening to you. Did you just miss?
Yep. I was too excited making noises.
Which of these 4 characters did George Lucas consider making a midget? Chewbacca, Princess Leia, Jar Jar Binks, and Luke Skywalker.
Princess Leia.
Not Princess Leia. Ben.
Chewbacca?
Not Chewbacca.
I have no idea.
Gosh.
Jar Jar Binks.
Not Jar Jar.
Luke Skywalker?
George Lucas was making Luke Skywalker and his aunt and uncle to be midgets.
Wow.
That's hilarious. That would have changed the whole movie.
I'm not sure if
Nope.
that's the politically correct term, but you know, it's in the spirit of staying woke. Who served as Jabba the Hutt's chief of staff? Nate Gunray, Maz Kanata, Sarlacc, and Bib Fortuna.
Bib Fortuna.
Bib Fortuna.
Why the blowing?
Does it? Peppers you up.
What is the first Star Wars film in which Yoda is completely computer generated? Do you want to know
Episode 1.
episode 1. Do you guys even want to know the? Yes, it is episode 2.
Unless you count the re-release when they made him digital for episode 1 after it was released.
I do count that, so you're wrong.
Begun the Clone
It's like all of a sudden there's nothing, and then it's not all of a sudden there's nothing. It's like there's nothing, and then all of a sudden it's just like pain. Just in a random part of your body you weren't expecting. Like when you step on a Lego or something.
Young Skywalker is in pain. Terrible pain.
All right, my young Padawans. Today we are going to be talking about the topic of can you be too woke?
Whoa!
Can you do that like R2D2?
So, can you be too woke? Number one, let's talk about what wokeness am. Definition of wokeness.
Wait, you got to explain it right. Because it's always people who are like, I'm woke. Like that.
Okay, so you guys have seen it. They talk about being woke. You see t-shirts say be woke. You see hashtags talk about being woke.
Have you seen that video of that lady screaming when Hillary Clinton didn't get elected?
Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Can you put that video in? Where she's like, "Whoa!" That one. She was very woke.
Uber. So,
I prefer Lyft.
the definition of wokeness off of the online Merriam Dictionary is alert.
Merriam-Webster. You got to give Webster his credit.
That's true. He was the first one. Webster Dictionary is alert to injustice in society, especially racism. So you're alert to injustice in society, especially racism. And I would say this: if that was the fullness of what wokeness was,
Yeah.
I'd be all for it.
The Urban Dictionary says,
Ooh.
being aware of the truth behind things the man doesn't want you to know.
Ooh. If that's all it was, what I said, alert to injustice in society, especially racism, I'd be down for it. All right? But I feel like that is not all that it is.
Yeah, no.
There's way more that goes into it. There's, have you seen the things that's like, oh, you know, Trump supporter walks through, you know, BLM rally and gets beat up,
Yeah.
right? It's like, why is that okay?
Because they're woke.
Right, exactly. So they have this thing that says, I can hurt you if I don't agree with you.
Yeah, which is like, as like elementary as things can be.
Yeah, it has an element of appearing to be good, but it's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, because you don't think the way I think, and the way I think is good, because the way I think is wanting to help everybody, they think,
Yeah.
right? Then I can hurt you, talk bad about you, I can cancel you.
Because my opinion is so much greater than the way you think that you don't even deserve to talk. Or
yeah,
have
we
your
don't even get to have a dialogue about
Yeah,
it.
no,
right?
because I just know, and
Yeah.
I'm woker than you, so shut up.
Yeah, so we are supposed to be aware of how people think, accept everybody's way of thinking, unless your way of thinking is different than mine, then I don't have to accept it.
Yeah.
One of the things about being woke is they love feelings more than facts.
Yeah.
Okay?
It feels good to be on something that's like trendy. Like woke things I feel like are very trendy about like what the big thing is.
Yes, and I agree that could be a thing, but I would say that somebody who is truly woke, not just social media woke, doesn't just let it go.
That's a whole nother video.
It is a whole nother video, but they actually stick with it. Like they believe what they believe wholeheartedly, and they're not just trying to make a statement on Instagram and move on. They're actually in it. But
Yeah.
the problem is that when you run your life by your feelings, you make bad decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
we feelings are, it's a terrible way to base anything.
oh, is there anything? Now, should we not have feelings? Of course we need those.
Yeah.
We need our feelings to help us navigate facts.
Well, I mean, it's like what I tell my kids. I'm like, your feelings, you can't let your feelings control everything you do. You feel sad now or you feel frustrated now. Don't let that ruin the rest of your day by
Right. Right.
getting in trouble, and then you get a consequence, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's like this. And we go into why this is a big deal. If you are going to make a law, you can't base the law off of feelings, because you're going to mess up a lot of things, that how things should work and what's fair and what's going to work well, because you feel bad about these people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you don't have feelings, you could not care about those people, and you make laws that are going to hurt those people.
Yep.
So you need your feelings and your sense of care and sympathy to let you know what's going on, so that when you're making decisions, you can bring that into play. But it's not the only thing that's in play.
Yeah, because if humans were just completely rational all the time and never felt anything, it would be a very sterile society.
When we try to bring facts into it, wokeness says you don't care. You don't care about people. You don't care about them. You're just mean, and you just want to make money, right? It's
But oftentimes they accomplish that goal by just screaming louder than someone else. It's like It's like irrational, and it's like they just get louder and louder and louder until the person who's trying to have a different opinion just gets tired of getting shouted at.
Yes.
And then eventually that's how the woke person wins.
Yes. I mean, because you will see that there's a lot of people who disagree with being woke, and I would say, especially like in Hollywood, that won't say anything because they don't want to get canceled. They don't want people tweeting about them. You know what I mean?
Recently, there was that thing that it was on Twitter, I think, is where it started. But it was, which is Hollywood's worst Chris? And it was Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Pine. And Chris Pratt was the worst just because he has different opinions than people.
Yeah.
And I was like, so he got canceled, got all this terrible stuff said about him just because he thinks differently than someone else.
Yeah.
Like that's the definition of why being woke is completely wrong. Because if everybody thought the exact same way, how boring would everything be?
Okay, so I'm going to disagree with you with what you said. You said being woke is completely wrong. And
Okay.
I'm going to say the way in which you express your wokeness matters.
I don't like. I feel like the word woke is just. Can we just call it something else? You can be aware of what's happening. But like people who are like woke when their eyes are really
Right.
big, oftentimes
Are
they're.
all their eyes really big?
Yeah, it's like that. Woke! I feel like that's been taken over and it's something that's not rational. Whereas you can care about, being woke, it started mostly with racial issues. Mm-hmm. We can be aware of that and we can champion those causes and help people. But I don't feel like it needs to be this thing where if someone thinks slightly different than you, you cancel them, call them a dirtbag, and we can be like civil people.
Right.
But, so what my point is I feel like woke has gotten to a point of being its own terrible thing that shouldn't even be associated with just being aware of what's happening.
Right. And I think, again, it comes to wokeness has stopped being about what's happening and started being about what you're feeling. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's not fair. I feel like that's mean. Especially like just literally mean. Like, I feel like that's mean. I'm like, if that is the basis off of which you're living your life, you're not going to do well at a job. You're not going to do well.
People are mean.
People can be mean.
Yeah.
And so we can't make our decisions off of that. But when we do, it can lead to bad conclusions. For instance, in Wisconsin, when the riots were happening way more than they are now, everybody was tearing down statues, right? They're like, we need to get rid of the history of the United States, and they're tearing down statues, and Christopher Columbus and Robert E. Lee and people that were, fighting for the South or were racist.
Yeah.
But then they tore down in Wisconsin and other places, but I saw the article in Wisconsin, they tore down the statue of an abolitionist. Okay? So somebody who was being honored for freeing the slaves, the people who were saying, hey, we need to take care of black people, tore down the statue of somebody who was being honored for freeing slaves. And it's like, you just tore down the statue because it was a statue.
Yeah.
And you thought if it's white and a statue from an old person, they must be a racist.
Yeah.
And you didn't let facts inform you. Yep. You didn't let history inform you. You just said, this feels bad.
Grumble, grumble. Let me break a thing. Yeah.
And we can't live that way. Beating up old people because they support a different candidate. people who aren't oppressed, quote unquote,
Yeah.
telling oppressed people, quote unquote, what they should be offended about. Right? So we talk about privilege, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, that's like you walking up to me and you'd be like, hey man, do you hear what that guy said about you? You should be mad about that. I wasn't mad about it before, but you're mad about, it's like, wait, why are you mad about something I'm not mad about?
Yeah.
Why?
It's so. Yeah.
And when we start taking this perspective on things, we say we're tolerant, right? We will accept everybody's viewpoints until it's different than ours. And that's not what tolerance is. And I will say this. We are not called to be tolerant as people of God.
No.
We're called to love people.
Yes.
Tolerance says, I don't like you, but I'll let you be there.
Yeah. And I feel like tolerance also, there's not, I mean, as God's people, we love people and we direct them towards what the Word of God says.
Yes.
But if you're just tolerant, you don't want people to be better. You're just like, nah.
Just let them be. Let them be. Let them live their lives. Live and let live.
I have a really good friend that we disagree on almost everything, but I love him and I love hanging out with him.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. It's like somewhere down the line, if someone thinks differently than you, they became the enemy.
Okay. Yes.
And you're not the enemy if you think different.
Listen.
That's your right as a human being.
You do not have to be the enemy, and they're not the enemy if they disagree with you.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of students in school, and they'll say that they're afraid to speak up about their political views because of how they'll be treated by the other students and by their teachers. Mm-hmm. And I go, this should not be in a society where we value free thought and we value the ability to say what's going on in our heads and to debate.
Well, and I feel like through this presidential election that just happened, that whole they don't believe the same as me, they're definitely the bad guy, they're the enemy. That really, and I'm not saying it's one candidate did it more than others, but it's really divided right now.
Right.
And I think more than any other time, I mean, people have got to find some middle ground because we all still live in this country.
You're right.
We all, we have to keep our lives going, you know?
Yeah. I think that one of the problems is when you're too afraid to talk because of how somebody's going to respond, you can no longer tell the truth.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just say you're thinking, man,
Hit that button.
I have this great idea and I want to drive my car blindfolded, right? Like this sounds like an amazing idea. And I go, man, I'd love to tell him that's a horrible idea, but I don't want him to get mad at me and think I'm being intolerant of his idea, so I'm just not going to say anything. It's like, but this is where we're at, where you have a thought or an idea, and I can't say anything
because you're worried
of differently.
Offending.
Yeah.
You don't want to offend somebody, even though they're about to make a terrible decision. I want in my life, is something else we couldn't, this is where we lean in, because we're about to encourage really good. Something in my life is I always want to be teachable. I never want to get to a point where I feel like I know everything.
Right.
Because I that would be so foolish.
Yeah.
It's so important to remain teachable, and some of that is if you're about to make a bad choice and somebody you trust comes and tells you this is a terrible choice, you should probably listen to them.
Probably. Let me say it. This is why I like Westerns. All right? Because in today's society, everybody's like, oh, I don't want to say something that's going to hurt their feelings. I don't want to say something. But guess what? You need someone to tell you the truth if you're going to change and be better. In a Western, if they don't like each other, they just tell each other.
They have a draw.
Like even if they don't draw, they're like, I don't like you. And they're like, all right then. And then they keep going and they're like, you know what? Let's go out in the street and fight it out. All right. They fight it out. They go back in. They're hanging out. You know what I mean? Like they just say what they had to say, and they were mature enough to take it, and they move on. Guys, we gotta get past this thing that if somebody says something to me and I don't like it, then I cry about it and I'm upset about it. And it's like, take it. If it's meaningful and it's gonna help you, use it. If it's not, move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, you don't have to take every piece of advice people give you. Like like take advice from people you trust. Take advice from people who are qualified to give advice.
Yes.
Like if your friends are all of a sudden like think they're like a guru and tell you how to live your life, probably not, because they're the same age as you.
Yeah.
I would say always take advice from somebody who's like, you know, in a different phase of life.
So the goal of being woke originally was to bring awareness of injustice,
Which is a good
good thing. But how you go about that is very important. So what do we do? The real question isn't what's our opinion about wokeness.
Yeah.
The real question is how do we approach this in a way that is actually going to help? Because I will say this, Jesus and the way he said to live life is the answer for what they are trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
All right? So, when Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself, that is an answer to what they're trying to accomplish. When in Galatians, when it says that there is no difference in God's eyes between races, now obviously he sees them, he made them, he loves them, but he's not looking at them and go, you're better than you and you're better than you're better.
Yeah.
He loves them all, he made them all. That is a way that we need to see people and not look at the color of the skin, but the content of their character, and go, okay, this
That was a
is
good
how I'm
quote. Did
judging.
you come up with that yourself?
Actually, I did.
Wow.
When I
You
was
should-
sitting
you
on
should-
the Washington Monument,
You should put that on a shirt or something.
where's the Lincoln Memorial? Jesus said, whatever you've done to the least of these, meaning whoever you help, whoever you care for, you're doing it to him.
Yeah.
All right? So when we start having this perspective of, I'm not just here for me, I'm here for you, I'm here to love you, to care about you, to help you. And guess what? Sometimes loving somebody, caring for them, and helping them is telling them when they're making a mistake. So what do we do if we see injustice? We make a change.
Yeah.
We do it is what we need to make changes and to bring awareness to it and all that. But am I going to beat someone up and break things and burn
Learn
things?
about injustice! Learn about it!
Exactly. Like,
It doesn't
no,
work that way.
that's not how you change the hearts of people. I mean, think about it. A guy who probably could have done the quote as good as I just did, Martin Luther King Jr., he he changed the hearts of people
Yeah.
by loving people and making sure they knew that this is about everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He didn't just say, I have a dream that one day black people will be able to have rights. He said, I have a dream that one day black children and white children will walk together in unity and be
Yeah.
able to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sing free at last. Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. But he was saying, like, they're all singing it.
Yeah.
Because freedom for us comes when there's freedom for you. And so we are working together to make it happen. God loves justice.
Yeah.
That is something that's actually very evident in the Bible, but what we look at as justice and what God looks at as justice is sometimes different. When you see stuff on social media, I see on your notes, I'm going to take it. Ready?
Oh, go for it.
Use your brain.
I did write that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said, don't just be like, hey, that sounds like a good quote.
I read something, now that must true it be.
Push share. Share it.
Think about it. Try to, one thing that I try to do is I never read one news source. I try to read the news source I like that thinks the way I think, and then I read 2 or 3 sources that don't ever think the way I think. And usually a story's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So use your brain. If you read something and it's like, wow, that person's bad. Maybe they did do a bad thing. But read it from another perspective to see if there's more to the story or if it's just being pushed one narrative.
Yeah. I mean, God gave us brains. Let's use them.
Yeah.
If we don't just go off of our emotion and we go, okay, I can see emotionally why this seems bad or why this needs to change. But if we do it that way, how will that affect other people? Is this the right way to go about it? Use your noodle, people. All right?
Al dente.
Let's end with this. It is good for us to be on the lookout for injustice. The question is, how does it look when we go and fight against injustice? When we go and fight against injustice, what does it look like? Jesus has the answer to these things that we're dealing with and trying to solve with our man-made wokeness. Jesus is like, I'm God. I already had an answer for this. Look and see how I said to treat your neighbor. Look and see how I said to love people. If we do that, we will find the answers, just like we did when we came through and the civil rights stuff happened. Guess what? People started going, hey, we can't treat our brothers and sisters like this. We need to make a change. And we'll continue to do that. So, use your noodle, just like Ben did with the spaghetti. Stay asleep. No, I'm just kidding. No, be aware. God loves you. Love people. Cereal time.
And the final thing, stay woke!
Dominic asked us to talk about the thought that people have had that Jesus rioted in the temple. Here's the deal. Number one, if we want to go from that perspective, if he was rioting in the temple, technically the temple is the house of God. Technically the temple is Jesus' house. Therefore, he was rioting in his own house, not someone else's. Number two, he did not riot. He had a specific thing that he was doing and changing and removing from the temple that was not supposed to be there because there was an injustice happening.
Yeah, it's not like he was going through and breaking small business owners' windows and stealing their
random
merchandise.
stuff. No,
Yes.
there was a specific thing that was supposed to be happening there. He went in there, he removed that thing, and he came in and rectified what's supposed to be happening. He didn't set the whole temple on fire.
Nope.
He didn't go and burn random houses.
He didn't chuck Molotov cocktails.
It was not a riot. It was him correcting a wrong, not him going in there willy-nilly and just doing things because he was angry. He was doing it because he was correcting what was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And again, if we bring it back, he was rioting in his own house, if you want to use that. So if you want to riot, do it in your own home.
Context, the more you know. Wait, I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
Okay, on getting canceled, a lot of people get canceled all the time on the internet. Like, you've been canceled
My
because of
Disney
this.
Plus got canceled.
Yeah. I'm not talking about your subscription-based services. But people will get canceled on the internet for something they did, something they said in the past. So, for instance, there was a movie director who directed a movie, and then the studio found out he said something bad in his past.
How long ago?
It was like 12 years ago.
12 years?
And because he said that bad thing 12 years ago, they didn't let him direct the sequel to the movie. And to me, I'm like, okay, you can change a lot in 12 years. And if we're really going to start critiquing things that much, that you don't get to do things in the future because of something you did in the past, how many things will you not get to do? How many things will you not get to do? Will I not get to do? It makes no sense. So if somebody ever tries to cancel you, you tell them you're redeemed by the blood of Jesus and tell them to stop being so woke.
I know, because if some of you 12-year-olds were judged by things you did 12 years ago, you're like, listen.
You kicked your mom in the spleen. I took your joke. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Re-record it.
I didn't mean to kick my mom in the stomach.
Can we re-record? I didn't mean to steal your joke. I love that we were going the same way.
It's fine. We're together on this. We love you guys. Enjoy. Share this with your friends. Like, subscribe, and go get the 418 Revolution app on Android and Apple. We love you.
We also have a MySpace page.